The Cedar fires of 2003 burned down 80,000 acres of land in Southern California.
One of the most dangerous fires witnessed in Southern California. Based on the damage wreaked by the fires, it's been deduced that this was one of the most costly fires with the worst amount of response. The Federal Fire Prevention and Control Act of 1974 was developed for emergencies such as these.
I remember looking outside the window and the sky was completely red and there were ashes just falling from the sky.
I could see the fires from the window and I could see the flames erupting all over the place, and we're still stuck in the house. My brother, he had to drive through the smoke and the fires in his first driver's ed lesson. But thankfully we evacuated.
Cars trying to get out of there, of course. We're trying to get in and everybody else was leaving, so we had a little trouble there.
We were constantly watching the news to make sure our house would be okay.
Our first response was immediate need into Lakeside, in Eucalyptus Hills. Pulled in there was homes on fire, the wind was blowing 40-50 miles an hour, and we'd find one that we basically could protect and stop the fire and put out. So we saved more homes by freelancing, what they call, which you're not supposed to do then, if we were to go as a group, how you go to this one and you go to this one. That burned the most homes in the history of California.
Along with destroying 2,232 homes, the Cedar fire also killed one firefighter and 14 civilians.
The Federal Fire Prevention and Control Act of 1974 provided for rebuilding the homes of these citizens who had lost their homes, and also provided them with temporary housing while they were currently homeless. Not only did the act repay the citizens for their patience, but it also repaid the firefighters.
We're protected by the tribal government. They provide what's called PPE, which is a personal protective equipment.
Any injuries the firefighters faced during the 2003 Cedar fires were compensated for by the Federal Fire Prevention and Control Act, who provided them with workman's comp while they were on sick leave.
We're under that same, just like anybody else would be.
Because of the severity of the Cedar fires, the act helped to provide the firefighters with better equipment.
An act that opens up money for departments. This department alone has upgraded a lot of equipment. Through certain grants we get new equipment. We've got new chainsaws, new rescue equipment that's kind of geared towards newer vehicles that have stronger metals, so we can cut through that and work around it.
We must ensure that first responders who are out there protecting lives, homes, and businesses receive the training and support they need.
If one of us goes to the academy, we have a set that gets torn up, and then as soon as we're done for that, we have one that's fire ready.
From locals to various federal agencies, it's important we have comprehensive protection and response no matter where a fire occurs.
Part of the grant paid for that reverse 911, which came out of the 03 fires.
In terms of just fire prevention, I know I don't know whether it's state or federal funds. They do pay a certain amount of money if you live in a rural area to if you have a defensible space around your home.
Though the Federal Fire Prevention and Control Act was effective in providing assistance for the Cedar fires, there is still progress to be made.
There wasn't enough firemen to put out 50 to 100 engines from San Francisco all the way down here, and nobody was doing anything. They were just parked at the airport, and they didn't send those engines out anymore. They try to prevent injuries and deaths. They haven't really done that.
This nation continues to have an unacceptably high fire death rate.
They're still killing people because they don't know what they're doing. They don't know how to manage. You think with the technology they have it down, but they don't.
And the great majority of fire deaths in the United States occur among the elderly and among children aged 14 and younger.
We're big into prevention.
2-year-olds probably is where we start, before they can understand what's going on, all the way up to adults that let them know that they need smoke detectors.
The presence of a smoke detector reduces the chance of dying in a fire by 50%.
So we can request money for anything from educational equipment. There's a trailer that makes the rounds around here that has like a fake little kitchen. Kids go in there and learn about the kitchen, learn about boiling liquids and cooking and how to prevent that. A lot of the pamphlets that we have also came out of the Cedar fire.
Wildfire activity is growing. When you talk about wildfires, most people think states hit by drought like California.
I think California's been in the leading edge of wildland firefighting.
More states than ever are being hit by huge wildfires. I know providing that protection has become more and more expensive, especially on federal level.
We still use water and a fire truck to put the fire out. There's no change in that. That's probably a career fire. Everything was on fire.
To the Federal Fire Prevention and Control Act and the firefighters, our houses were saved and the houses of those who were burnt down were quickly rebuilt.